My name is Rick Osmond, and I'm the chairman of the Palmetto Public Deposit Coalition and the former mayor of Aiken, South Carolina. Today, the South Carolina Community Financial Empowerment Act was filed in the South Carolina House by Representative Nathan Ballantyne. Representative, thank you. A companion bill will also be filed in the South Carolina Senate shortly. This bill is an important piece of legislation that will give local governments, cities, counties, local fire departments, public entities the freedom to choose the type of financial institution that is best for their communities when it comes to depositing taxpayers' money. Currently, local governments and local elected officials across the state are forced to use commercial banks. Even if the bank does not offer competitive interest rates, does not provide good customer service, and isn't based locally. This results in taxpayer dollars leaving South Carolina at an extremely high rate. For example, in 2023, 77% of all deposits in South Carolina were held by out-of-state banks. That's not right, and that's not how our state's taxpayer dollars should be managed. There's often a credit union that is based in these same communities, and particularly rural communities, who could offer better rates and keep those tax dollars in South Carolina, creating more opportunities for residents to buy homes, buy trucks, or purchase farm equipment, and for local governments to perform key responsibilities like paving your roads. Credit unions already play a vital role in supporting our community. They've helped South Carolinians with agricultural loans, home loans, and financial services, all while contributing over $38 million in tax revenue in South Carolina in last year alone. These points aside, the South Carolina Community Financial Empowerment Act is inherently about creating a true free market for public deposits and giving our local elected officials the freedom they deserve to do what is best for their community. The bill does not mandate that a community use one type of financial institution over others. It simply creates competition in the public deposits market and gives local leaders the flexibility with taxpayer dollars. This legislation is about fairness and modernization. It gives local governments and local elected officials a choice they should have had all along, a choice that ultimately leads to stronger communities and better outcomes for all of South Carolinians. As someone who has served in local government, I know how important it is to put our communities first. This legislation is about making taxpayer dollars work harder, keeping money in South Carolina, and ensuring our local government can do what's best for the people that they serve. I want to let everyone know I'm happy to take questions one-on-one after the press conference concludes. I know we have some other folks who would like to speak at this time, so I'm going to invite them up to the podium.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you, everybody. I can't say it any better than what you heard from Rick, but what I can do is I can shed some light on how and why I'm getting involved in this cause and why I think it's the right thing to do. I was fortunate enough when I graduated from the University of South Carolina 30 some odd years ago to start my career in the financial industry with the South Carolina National Bank, a good local bank here right in the community on Main Street. I soon realized quickly that bank started to lose our vision, lose our values, lose our decision making, and most importantly, forgot about the local people in the communities we serve. The big banks started gobbling up the smaller banks. The money started leaving our state, and that causes all kinds of problems. Fast forward 30-something years, and when you do what you do best as an elected official, you listen to your constituents, your communities, your business leaders. So I started getting calls and hearing from locals about this issue. I'll be honest, I didn't even know that they could not do what they're looking to do. It made no sense that we have that boundary in place. We have the same protections at these other local community financial institutions, many who are serving communities that the big banks have long left behind or forgotten about. It's for that reason that I pre-filed the bill. I look forward to working with my House colleagues in a bipartisan fashion, not just whether we're in the big cities of South Carolina, but if we're in the rural communities as well, and also reaching across the aisle to the senators who'll be working as well. It's my hope that this passes this session, and that we do what's best. We provide choices. We don't mandate what has to be done. we open up doors and opportunities, and most importantly, we keep your taxpayer dollars here in the state of South Carolina. I'm happy to be a part, and I too will answer questions afterwards. Thank you very much.
Good morning. My name is Catherine James, City Councilwoman for the City of Travelers Rest in upstate South Carolina. I came down to Columbia this morning to emphasize how important this piece of legislation is to communities like mine. Travelers Rest is a tight-knit, friendly community. We know many, if not all, of our neighbors. When you go to the grocery store, you're gonna bump into somebody you know. This sense of community is exactly what the South Carolina Community Financial Empowerment Act is intended to preserve across the Palmetto State. Unfortunately, current state law forces local governments like mine to bank with commercial banks who may not be as invested in our community as a locally based credit union. As you've heard from our speakers today, the South Carolina Community Financial Empowerment Act will give local city councils across the state the flexibility and freedom to choose a financial institution that best suits our needs and community. I can promise you that we know what works best for our communities. All we ask is that we are afforded the opportunity to deposit our taxpayers' dollars at the financial institution that provides the best return for our constituents and is the most invested in our communities. Local governments and public entities across the state support this bill, and I look forward to working with them and our state representatives and senators in Columbia to get this passed in 2025. Thank you.
Roughly what rate of return are municipalities getting with the current banking arrangement, and what can y'all expect with local credit unions?
Um, I can't speak to exactly what banks are offering, but I can say that when there's choice between credit unions and banks, credit unions tend to have a better rate of return because of their not-for-profit status. They allows the credit unions to offer usually better rates.
Thank you.